allow the children. It's okay. It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay. Off your mind.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Ingo torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego politico, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. And in the touchlight every corner, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get it higher power over naira. See them talk say make we off mind, but Dangote say my ego don't come. So my people make you ladder, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego the politico, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. This one not they off in mind, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my yegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my yegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Poor man picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my yegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo.
Hello there.
Mayegun la wa mo to do. Mayegun la wa mo to do.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and then good evening to you. Or should we say, happy weekend to everyone joining us at this moment. It is Mayegun Live. Thank you so much for joining me as you are tuning in on the program this Saturday. Please read the caption of the broadcast, the description as usual. Like it. That is your offering, by the way. Then share this. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. Especially the Abobakus that you know. Tell all of them. We are doing some catch-up reviews and all that. Please read the description in detail. This should be interesting. Enough that we should be taking calls too. Share the broadcast. We have seen the Ronukus, the Ronu Nazis, the Ronu bad start. running mad, running amok online in the last few days because a lot of things happened from the revolution in Kenya. They were watching right there how people's will overpowers the people in power. They couldn't believe it. Then UK election. Over 2 million Nigerians living in the UK. Half of them possibly participated in the UK general election. Rishi Sunak is now the former Prime Minister of UK. For so many other reasons, so shared it. So we've got a lot of catch up to do. And enough that we just have to do this afternoon session and later maybe this evening session too. So good afternoon to you, good morning to you, and then good evening to you from wherever you are joining me this afternoon. It is Mayegun Live. And like I said, I mean, a lot of catch up to do. Interesting stuff. We are going to start from the United Kingdom's elections and the charade that you have in the contraption called Nigeria. Then we are also going to go to Kenya, where people's will is forcing the hands of those who felt so powerful because they are in power. United Kingdom had our general election on the 4th. Same day that the United States of America, you Americans, were celebrating your independence, 4th of July. Before now, we have our own issue here in the UK, okay? And among them, like locally, immigration, economy, taxes, and, and then most importantly, NHS. Politicians have messed things up so much in the UK that some of us who came from Nigeria, sometimes we just sit back and wonder, why are these people complaining? Maybe they should go and live under the criminals in Nigeria first. But ordinarily, what people are actually really complaining about here in the UK are basic things that some of us probably couldn't deal. You know what I'm talking about? But we do have those who are from Nigeria, enough that they have assimilated to the system, that they understand the political importance of what directly affects them. Now they are legal residents of the UK. So election is an opportunity to express yourself. It doesn't matter where you come from, It's a chance. As a legal resident, or paying your taxes here, whatever, you have the chance to decide the type of people that lead you. And the system allows it, okay? Without much blah, blah, blah here. Yeah, they had all of their times and all that. But most importantly, to people who are from Nigeria, especially those who watched democracy, their pseudo-democracy, trounced, trashed, and desecrated by the criminal agent of APC, Egbekegbe and their cohorts. United Kingdom watched that happen. They even donated money towards the charade. And for some reason, the politicians, well, Rishi Sunak here and his gang, the conservatives, right? They considered, possibly, I'm just kind of using the political balance here, right? That they considered the Nigerians in the UK as insignificant. Enough that it was one of those to congratulate the druggie, thiefnubu, the certificate forger, election rigger, something that will never be tolerated here in the UK, ever, never. So that enraged a lot of people, right? For those of you who were in the UK 14 years ago, and you remember how David Cameron became the prime minister, the role of Adeboye, using the sizable number of Nigerians here in the UK. I mean, how could the conservatives in that time, how could they be so like so ignorant, put it that way, like so ignorant that even when you look at your parliament in the UK, you will see sizable number of Nigerians who have become MPs in the UK. That should tell you at that point that, if they are politically like, considerate, so to say, but they didn't. Okay. So that played out. Like I said, among other things here. Then reactions followed on social media, because it is not just about Labour Party or conservative, the Tories anymore. You get that now? It is basically about to Nigerians now, to Nigerians here. To them, it is not about Labour, it is not about Tories, it is not about Kia or Richie. No. It is the fact that they were able to exercise their franchise because of their legal residency, or whether they have already become British and all that. Something they could not peacefully exercise in their own country, Nigeria. So that makes the election in the UK really, really kind of a little bit significant in this, in the annal of history generally, especially to those who might always want to tweak and twist the history. Being able to actually go out there and just exercise in that same election, there is a Yoruba party in UK, Yoruba party in the UK, led by Bashegun Alabe, Olushola Oni. You remember him, Bashegun. Now, Bashegun Alabe, who started the Yoruba party in the UK, sounded pretty much like contradictory, because I won't lie to you. They sent me an email to let me know that the UK electoral this and that, they have now confirmed the membership and registration of Yoruba party in the UK. But I've asked so many questions, but I'm a Yoruba man, so I just felt like, okay, if the UK allowed it, if the UK electoral system allowed it, okay, that's great. I was kind of given his number. I still have the email. I was given his number to reach out to him so that I could probably use my platform to, well, you know me, in the past, a lot of us have felt like everyone standing up for Yoruba nation or speaking for the Yoruba, they were doing so out of love, out of concern, out of patriotism towards Yoruba land. And because of this, a lot of kind of people were muddled together. Many of us didn't see it early enough that there were those who actually infiltrated that noble cause for political agenda. And when I say political agenda, I'm talking about the one that is xenophobic, tribal, hateful, more or less like a fascist. But somehow, the extent of the bigotry and so many of those who infiltrated this noble cause of Yoruba nation, they ended up giving the struggle a terrible stigma. Yorubas are bigots because of dislikes. So I quickly did, I didn't even know he was that active on Twitter. If to say that they put tattoo of a bigot for forehead, this old man that was once somebody who was an inspiration on this platform, who spoke glowingly, who wrote extensively on why Yorubas should be, should have their own nation. Somebody that was being penned down, even for the Yoruba Summit. Yoruba Union Summit that we're having in Glasgow next month, right? I quickly did a lot of background check. Bigotry at never seen before level from an old man who had lived in the UK for decades. Mi ò ríru bigotry yẹn rí. Bá a ṣe gùn was out there, steering all of their base of how the Igbos hated Yorubas, how the Igbos want to come and control Yoruba land, how Nnamdi Azikiwe was against Awolowo, how the Igbos were naked after the war, how the Yorubas were giving them food. I was like, hey! Like that. We had to put to break on it. I didn't know that we are many who are actually Yorubas disgusted by this attitude of these people. So disgusted. So now they now saw him flying a Yoruba party. Somebody who was promoting the violence against the Igbos in Lagos. That is what it was deserving. All other Yoruba land should wake up. Somebody that was promoting ethnic hatred. All for what? Then he turned around and he said, everyone that supports Yoruba nation, this is the reason why they must back and defend thiefnubu. Person will not believe in Yoruba nation. So I was so like, this is contradictory. So disappointing. Right? Then he's flagging a Yoruba party in the UK. Then he was allowed, in Peckham. Where I heard though, the language spoken in Peckham is like 60% Yoruba. And you will even see the Pakistanis, Indians, even the British themselves, they are speaking Yoruba very, very fluently. So it was meant to kind of have the area on the lockdown. But that's not how the people on the internet saw it. That the bigots in Nigeria, promoting division in Nigeria, could actually be promoting their own ethnic nationality through a political platform that says Yoruba Party UK. A lot of people shall express their own view on that and all that. And at the moment you agree with them in the possibly blaming the Igbos for everything that is wrong with your life in Nigeria, if you now suddenly decided to speak the truth once, they will just say, you are not Yoruba. These people are like those who are divided. They say, if your mama and your papa be Yoruba, then you are first class Yoruba, first class citizen. In their own mind, though. So that is why I told people who feels like these guys, for some reason, they represent some sensible size of Yoruba population. No, they don't. Okay? These are miscreants, right? Cowards, okay? Who have no idea about their life issues. And the most convenient thing for them is just to blame somebody. You may not understand this, but they are there. So the fact that these are inferior failures and cowards, for them to make themselves feel better. If you see them talk about the Igbos, talk about this, talk about that, in the most condescending way, they are just projecting their own insecurity. You know what I mean? Like their own inferiority. Feeling like as you are coming now, it's like you are feeling like you are bigger than me. Is it because of the clothes you are wearing? Is it because of your wristwatch? I'm a Yoruba man. I can have all of that thing too. The wristwatch and all this your dress is not a big thing for me. I mean, even if it's a poor guy, inferiority complex. Look at all these places. Now Igbo man get this thing. Now Hausa man get that one. This is a Delta man get this one. Which one Yoruba can't get? Can you imagine? In our land, they build house. Where is our own? Inferiority complex. That's what they are projecting on you. And they are projecting it on other successful Yorubas who don't fancy this nonsense, right? I don't care where you come from. I want to see who you are. Who you are will tell me exactly how I'm going to treat you, not where you come from. other serious things to deal with in my life. Not you dealing with where, no. But they are more concerned because they are insecure. And because of this, they consider other Yorubas like they needed to categorize them as citizens. If your mama and papa are Yoruba, you are a first class Yoruba. If your mama is Yoruba and your papa is Igbo, you are 12th class Yoruba, because now your mama be Yoruba, your papa is Igbo, you are Igbo. You are loyal to Igbo. If your dad is Yoruba and your mom is Igbo, you are 9th class citizen, because you are a mixed blood, contaminated. This Runukus omokoniranso. This inferior, insecure lunatic. So in Nigeria, some of them are living abroad. In fact, they have been abroad for decades. For election, for politics, for political whatever, that doesn't even benefit them or even benefit their race. But you see, they are saved that way. They said they are the Ronukus, the Ronu Nazis, the Ronu bastards. They want to preserve the Yoruba. So if your mama be Fulani and your papa be Yoruba, you are contaminated blood, but you are fourth-class citizen. Fourth. If your papa be Fulani and your mama be Yoruba, you are sixth-class citizen. You are still better than the Igbo mix Yorubas. This Olori Brukus now listed about 18 classes of citizens. People started looking at the chart, they were like, oh, I'll be 19th class citizen for Yoruba land. Oh. Hey, they don't do. And they are the same people who call themselves progressives shamelessly. They are also the same criminals, right? Who call themselves, who says they are not fascist. They promote this division, this, all of that, all because of a drug dealer, a drug baron, a bat. See, bat, they say the bat. And then what is that wife? The wife is the rat. The husband is the bat. The bat, the rat, the bat. Sort of. All for politics. So they push that so that kind of hatred back in Nigeria. But abroad, human rights, fundamental human rights. I've been living in the UK. I've been shaking it. So yesterday, 2 days ago, some of them were the experience, right? Let's go take a look.
It is a seamless process. It's a seamless process. No hoodlums, no slashing of ballot box, no gunshots, no stress, no queue. Just go there, give them your address. They'll confirm it. Give you your ballot paper. You tick, drop, and go. No big deal. I don't know why people are dying. I don't know why. I don't know why people keep wanting to kill themselves. If you are not credible, then you would look for people that you would go up into fighting and killing each other to vote for you. If you are credible, it's a seamless process. Yeah.
No. We don't vote. No ballot snatching. Near where I live, I can't say we are just a few people here. So, unlike Africa, where there'll be thuggery, they'll beat you, they'll punch you, you pay money, you bribe, you steal ballot boxes. Here, a slow one. Even this gentleman outside is just laughing. Yes, I'm Dele Olawanle. Yes. Yes. E-L-E and O-L-A W-A N-L L for London, E for Echo. You see? Yeah. Job done. Just how many minutes did I spend? 1 minute? Less than, I voted. Polling station. Yeah? All right.
It is a seamless
in a real country, the ways that are like, you will even see electoral officers telling you, we are not using voter machine. Everybody stay away. Yeah. So the typical Ronukus, they met a Yoruba Kanuri girl who complained about road. I showed you that yesterday, right? Okay. She complained about road. Immediately, they quickly reminded her, you are just a sixth-class citizen in Yoruba land. You are not Yoruba. She was like, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be part of this Ronuku anymore. What is all this nonsense? I joined you during election to attack the obedient, to attack Igbos, to attack everybody. I thought you said I was Yoruba. Now, because I'm saying the truth, now you are saying that I'm not Yoruba. I don't want to do this anymore, Joe. They will remind you they are inferior people, cowards, inferior. Remember now? Remember Awa yesterday?
But how did the obedient movement end? The obedient movement end in a reckless attempt to infiltrate into Lagos and Yoruba land politics. Lagos is just a launching pad for them. And this is why we call a lot on Zeke's mindsets, because when Zeke started, Zeke wanted to use Lagos as his launching pad, but his obsession was for all of Yoruba land. This is what these guys are doing. They tried so much in Lagos, and then they had a pushback. Now they want to move to Ogun. Tomorrow they'll move to Oyo. And the guy that spoke before me, I would really feel like you people should tone down on conspiracy theorist mindsets. If you know the status and the means that God has blessed people that are in Yoruba Ronu, you will understand that those are not the kind of people that can be bought. I'm not the kind of guy that can be bought. Are, Obìnrin Àkànṣe, Rock, those are not people that
Bonka, you
can be
were not
bought.
bought, but they appeal to the ones that could be bought, appeal to your own higher self of your fight, and you joined them. You
No,
joined them.
this was a
You possibly were not bought, but some
this was
people were
a
paid to have a campaign against personality, not message, and you bought it. So if those people can get somebody like you to buy it,
that's not the
then there's a
Yoruba
problem.
Ronu.
There's a problem.
That's not
And also, before you
that's
go
not.
forward, I don't like this attack of obedience because I followed you guys to do that nonsense
No,
during the election. And I
wait.
want
No,
to
I will
categorically say,
let him
no. I
finish.
want to say, I don't want to
Let
hear
him finish.
nonsense because I
I
don't want
will
me people where be say
answer
I dey follow some go
him.
country.
Oh
No,
my
just
God.
make I clear
You
them.
destroy the whole thing
Anybody,
now. I
no,
won't
make I
answer
clear them.
him.
I'm not following them for that nonsense anymore. I follow them to do that nonsense during election. Oh, Igbos want to take over Lagos. Oh, Igbos are after Lagos. I dey follow them. I dey shout say, oh, protect Lagos on top waiting. Am I a mad person? I apologize to you people, obedience. Nigeria is for everybody. If you want to, anywhere you want to, that your money is, you have the right. Anywhere you are living, you have the right. You are Nigerian. This is my own position now. My position has shifted. I will not follow anybody to come and be fighting for Yoruba, for then a group of people to come and be insulting me. No.
But how
She felt like, that's why I thought we all agreed that it's only anybody that has any connection with Igbos. Like all of you who have Igbo parents, Yoruba parents, I thought we were doing it. So you do it to me too. If I say truth, I'm not doing it again. No, I'm not doing Ronu again. I'm not doing any Ronu again. Which kind of Ronu is this? I apologize to you, obedient. Okay, I will never do this anymore. I'm not joining them to do all this. Igbo want to take this. Igbo, because they reminded her that she's not fully Yoruba in their own eyes. And that's why it is. Bunch of lunatics. That's a part, okay? The other part is that of, we don't do elections, oh. Sharply, the same day, we don't know the winner, oh. My dear brethren, Templars, winner don't know himself, loser don't know himself. Sharply, loser don't pack out, winner don't move in. They no set up committee, oh. Inaugural committee, the Friday Jumat prayer for inauguration prayer, Sunday Thanksgiving prayer. They no do a presidential dinner committee. They no inauguration list will be like about 10,000 people. Which kind of country be this? The person that lost just called his wife, my dear. That's it. The Uber will be here by 4:15, and I need to give my speech, okay, by 4 o'clock, and say goodbye to British people. So you need to pack all your stuff, okay? And then we can leave. That's it. 24 hours before then, he was a prime minister going into a general election. So many factors now. This is not just all of that factors now. He was going into an election, incumbent. After 14 years of a conservative government in the UK, everything crumbled with a landslide for Labour Party. I'm coming back to that part where Peter Obi was like, vote for Labour Party in the coming election. Or more, Ronukus run mad. Even some obedient, they've gone crazy. Why would you say that? This is not Kiniko. Others started quoting what Rishi Sunak said when Nigerians, they were supposed to be happy that they have elected a new president. They were in money mood because they were robbed and they were threatened. If anybody try anything, the military will kill them. The UK, Rishi Sunak, America stayed away. Even Joe Biden that wanted to meet with him on the side of whatever they went for in India or so, right? He had to run away. They had to quickly say, Omonomitamo. But you, Rishi Sunak, you are not so politically conscious as the prime minister. You are so insensitive that you quickly use your platform on Twitter. To congratulate a drug dealer, congratulate a certificate forger, election rigger, the one that the EU election observers said is the worst. They actually gave their verdict. Eti Bagbe, you don't forget. UK team were in Nigeria. They said the election was a sham. You, Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister of the UK. UK will continue to work with blah, 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 blah. So now, so the war started. Anyway, once they said the Uber is outside and Richie had just 15 minutes, this was what happened after. Richie leaving, here, coming.
Good morning. I will shortly be seeing His Majesty the King to offer my resignation as Prime Minister. To the country, I would like to say first and foremost, I am sorry. I have given this job my all, but you have sent a clear signal that the government of the United Kingdom must change, and yours is the only judgment that matters. I have heard your anger, your disappointment, and I take responsibility for this loss. To all the Conservative candidates and campaigners who worked tirelessly but without success, I am sorry that we could not deliver what your efforts deserved. It pains me to think how many good colleagues who contributed so much to their communities and our country will now no longer sit in the House of Commons. I thank them for their hard work and their service. Following this result, I will step down as party leader, not immediately, but once the formal arrangements for selecting my successor are in place. It is important that after 14 years in government, the Conservative Party rebuilds, but also that it takes up its crucial role in opposition professionally and effectively. When I first stood here as your Prime Minister, I told you the most important task I had was to return stability to our economy. Inflation is back to target, mortgage rates are falling, and growth has returned. We have enhanced our standing in the world, rebuilding relations with allies, leading global efforts to support Ukraine, and becoming the home of a new generation of transformative technologies. And our United Kingdom is stronger too, with the Windsor Framework, devolution restored in Northern Ireland, and our union strengthened. I'm proud of those achievements. I believe this country is safer, stronger, and more secure than it was 20 months ago. And it is more prosperous, fairer, and resilient than it was in 2010. Whilst he has been my political opponent, Sir Keir Starmer will shortly become our Prime Minister. In this job, his successes will be all our successors, and I wish him and his family well. Whatever our disagreements in this campaign, he is a decent, public-spirited man who I respect. He and his family deserve the very best of our understanding as they make the huge transition to their new lives behind this door, and as he grapples with this most demanding of jobs in an increasingly unstable world. I'd like to thank my colleagues, my cabinet, the civil service, especially here in Downing Street, the team at Chequers, my staff, CCHQ, but most of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to my wife Akshata and our beautiful daughters. I can never thank them enough for the sacrifices they have made so that I might serve our country. One of the most remarkable things about Britain is just how unremarkable it is that 2 generations after my grandparents came here with little, I could become Prime Minister, and that I could watch my 2 young daughters light Diwali candles on the steps in Downing Street. We must hold true to that idea of who we are, that vision of kindness, decency, and tolerance that has always been the British way. This is a difficult day, at the end of a number of difficult days. But I leave this job honoured to have been your Prime Minister. This is the best country in the world, and it is thanks entirely to you, the British people, the true source of all our achievements, our strengths, and our greatness. Thank you.
And in fairness to him, right, in fairness to the conservatives, even though a lot of people disagrees, because mostly that's why you have the election that way, I have seen through the recovery of the economy, I have benefited from it. I have seen it gone so high enough that a lot of people couldn't really cope. The cost of crisis, the cost of living crisis. And I've seen a lot of, I've seen tremendous changes in that aspect. But there has been so much fallout in other areas too, right? So the average British here in the UK, to them, the the upsurge of illegal immigration or illegal immigrants, and at the same time, using the sizable portion of the country's resources to care for these illegal immigrants, that's to the average British here. Then putting up a project that you want to export people to Rwanda, something that British population are so much against. So they went for a general election. Richie had to go, not just himself, other big shots of Conservative Party. They also had to lose their seats. It was a slaughter. Man, okay, landslide. Here is our own new Prime Minister. Now I wasn't in this country 14 years ago, but there were those who were here. To them, you don't understand what UK was. Yeah, Labour Party destroyed this, they destroyed that and that. And I kind of believed that. I never lived during that time. So some of them are kind of like, Labour Party will increase taxes, Labour Party will make life worse. I was like, oh my, life done tough already. All of us just brace up. Yeah, just like you should know, it is just the change of mask. Not the change of the personnel behind the whole thing. Though, there could be some good thing about them, Abby. Here is our new Prime Minister of the UK. Continuing from where Richie stopped. It's a long watch.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. His name is Keir Starmer.
you. Good afternoon. I have just returned from Buckingham Palace, where I accepted an invitation from His Majesty the King to form the next government of this great nation. I want to thank the outgoing Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. His achievement as the first British Asian Prime Minister of our country, the extra effort that will have required should not be underestimated by anyone. And we pay tribute to that today. And we also recognise the dedication and hard work he brought to his leadership. But now our country has voted decisively for change, for national renewal, and a return of politics to public service. When the gap between the sacrifices made by people and the service they receive from politicians grows this big, it leads to a weariness in the heart of a nation, a draining away of the hope, the spirit, the belief in a better future, that we need to move forward together. Now, this wound, this lack of trust, can only be healed by actions, not words. I know that. But we can make a start today with the simple acknowledgement that public service is a privilege and that your government should treat every single person in this country with respect. If you voted Labour yesterday, we will carry the responsibility of your trust as we rebuild our country. But whether you voted Labour or not, in fact, especially if you did not, I say to you directly, my government will serve you. Politics can be a force for good. We will show that. We've changed the Labour Party, returned it to service, and that is how we will govern. Country first, party second. Yet, if I'm honest, service is merely a precondition of hope, and it is surely clear to everyone that our country needs a bigger reset, a rediscovery of who we are, because no matter how fierce the storms of history, one of the great strengths of this nation has always been our ability to navigate a way to calmer waters. And yet this depends upon politicians, particularly those who stand for stability and moderation, as I do, recognising when we must change course. For too long now, we've turned a blind eye as millions slid into greater insecurity. Nurses, builders, drivers, carers, people doing the right thing, working harder every day, recognised at moments like this before, yet as soon as the cameras stop rolling, their lives are ignored. I want to say very clearly to those people, not this time. Changing a country is not like flicking a switch. The world is now a more volatile place. This will take a while. But have no doubt that the work of change begins immediately. Have no doubt that we will rebuild Britain with wealth created in every community. Our NHS back on its feet facing the future. Secure borders, safer streets, everyone treated with dignity and respect at work. The opportunity of clean British power, cutting your energy bills for good. And brick by brick, we will rebuild the infrastructure of opportunity, the world-class schools and colleges, the affordable homes that I know are the ingredients of hope for working people, the security that working class families like mine can build their lives around. Because if I asked you now whether you believe that Britain will be better for your children, I know too many of you would say no. And so my government will fight every day until you believe again. From now on, you have a government unburdened by doctrine, guided only by the determination to serve your interest, to defy, quietly, those who have written our country off. You have given us a clear mandate, and we will use it to deliver change, to restore service and respect to politics, end the era of noisy performance, tread more lightly on your lives, and unite our country. 4 nations standing together again, facing down, as we have so often in our past, the challenges of an insecure world, committed to a calm and patient rebuilding. So, with respect and humility, I invite you all to join this government of service in the mission of national renewal. Our work is urgent, and we begin it today. Thank you very much.
That's it. That's swearing in. That's a change of government. Everybody back to work. They don't have to buy new furnitures, okay? They don't have to renovate the number 10. No. All they need to do is just like, it's like an hotel, hotel room. You can pay for a month. You can pay for a day, a night. And you can pay for a year. Do you know that? But in this case, the public pays, okay? So they don't pay. They live free. So the moment they tell you that, hey, your rent is over, just pack your bag and leave. They'll clean the whole place up and tidy the whole thing, change the beddings and all of that. That's it. The new prime minister moves in. Everybody takes their rooms, takes their own apartments in the place. And if he has to get out of that building, the prime minister is out there in the garage. They drive it into the front of the front door, and he hops in and goes on and go and do his work and come back saying, that's it. So why can't you have that in that contraption? Maybe UK is too far. Ladies and gentlemen, in Kenya, yesterday, the Kenyan president, you have seen that, Abi, that he considered closed 47 agencies. Some parastatals were also shut down. The travel allowance, whatever, international travel for politicians removed. Politicians have been barred from making donations to churches or anywhere anymore. If you see any church collecting donation from politicians, they are committing wahala. They are looking for trouble. So yesterday, Ruto was finally brought onto a Twitter space where Kenyans were speaking directly to him, speaking directly with him. And it was right there all through. But you know, the real news about it is that I'm not sure maybe not only me. I promise that out of the 148,000 people listening to that conversation yesterday all over the world, along 40% of them are from Nigeria. They were just like, now president, they meet people like this in Africa. Some are even saying that, where is thiefnubu? Can thiefnubu even like have a chat with you like this? Can you even say your mind to thiefnubu like this? Ruto has made so many concessions, but Kenyans are not really being, this Gen Z, they're not being kind of persuaded. I'll take you to that conversation. I want you to listen to this. One of them was sharing their experience in the hands of the Ruto's goons who kidnapped, targeted, profiled, protesters. They kidnapped them. They didn't take them to station and all that. Listen to this. This is them telling Ruto, you are a liar.
Not about the livelihood of the common mananchi. Surely, Mr. President, we need you to be with you. Be empathetic. Your government should be empathetic. You should stop this issue of police brutality. That's what we want right now. Personally, the police came to my house at 3 a.m. They broke into my house. They refused to identify themselves, and that was it. We were abducted. It was like kidnapping. Hii mambo mimi sikumbuki, nilikuwa nadhani mambo ya movie. Mr. President, tulishikwa, tukapigwa. They even stole some stuff from our house. Imagine askari anakuja, akona bunduki anaingia kwa nyumba, akona mask, 12 of them with 12 cars arresting a single guy, an armed citizen. Alafu ukimwambia mbona anakuja kushika, anakupiga. In the meantime bado anachukua vitu kwa nyumba yako. PD told the guys, we know about this thing, but will not take any action. Meaning it was very criminal. The OCPD, Parklands Police Station OCPD, Deputy OCPD was very much aware what was going on. We were not booked in any single police station. We were taken in a certain house. I think it was a safe house or something. I was blindfolded. Some guys were blindfolded for like 12 hours. Surely, Mr. President, are we in a terrorist country? We just want you to answer that.
Okay.
This is why we're in this space.
Yeah, he asked him, are we in a terrorist country? I want you to answer that. That's my own question. In fact, say they say, he who must come to Ekiti must come with clean hands. Now somebody said that too. He who must come to Ekiti must come with clean hands. Kenyans were like, Ruto, you can't be seated there talking about, I want to have a chat with you guys. But as we speak, some of those people you kidnapped, they are still missing. You haven't really shown much sign on the people who died. But you are here pretending that, Ruto self, you know what, guys, I have, president of the country, you go feel on. Here is another Kenya speaking directly to their president in that space. I don't know if you have heard it.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. President, before you continue, I'm Marvin Mabonga. I come from Kimilili constituency in Bungoma County. So, Mr. President, before you go, I want to let you know that in your cabinet, currently we are having so many incompetent cabinet secretaries. For instance, let me give you an example of your friend, Kipchumba Murkomen. Kipchumba Murkomen did law. He has never been in any law firm in this country. He has never won any case. But currently, he's heading the Ministry for Road and Transport. My question is, between where is the conjunction between the Ministry of Transport and a lawyer? In that department, you should be putting there a person who has done even civil engineering, who knows so much about construction. Lastly, the minister for agriculture, that person, he even doesn't have a bachelor's. We all know this information. We have the government's website and we Google, we see this information. So, Mr. President, if you are going to give us those people who are incompetent, then we are totally doomed. You know, when we elected you as the president, normally they say, you set a thief to catch a thief. But this time round, when we elected you, Mr. President, that you can help us now catch those people who are corrupt in this nation, you're just there laughing with them. Look at Oscar Sudi. He's flaunting with 20 million in a bag in a public forum. I'm even told that there is one of the cabinet minister who was caught in Dubai with 20 million cash, and you actually came through him, so he wasn't taken to a court somewhere or arrested. You know that, Mr. President. Personally, where I sit, I want to pay my rent by 10th, but because I finished campus, I don't have any job anywhere. I'm just here in the city seated. I will not be able to pay that rent because you promised to give us the jobs. But when we elected you, you are now telling us that in the next 1 year, we are not going to employ the youth. Mr. President, do you think that one is not a lie? Lastly, the other day you said, when you were questioned about the boy who was shot, you didn't know whether he was alive or dead. But now you know that the person who shot that boy is not the police officer. Mr. President, do you think that is a reality? That one is not a reality. I'm very angered person because every time we get to those public offices, we are treated like trash. And that's why the other day I was even on the forefront. You can watch the videos. I was on the forefront in those protests to demand for my right. And now here, Mr. President, you are just taking us through the corners. You are not even going straight to the point. Kindly go straight to the point. When you are asked about the person who is corrupt, you say, this person is corrupt. He has been working with millions of money. Tell us, Omanga bought 60 with 50 million a vehicle, which he's flaunting now on social media. Apart from that, tell us that this fertilizer was fake, even as much as it was dropped from 7,000 to 2,000, it is full of soil. So why are we playing games with the public money, with the money that our mothers and fathers are going through sweat to get it, Mr. President? Wherever we are not happy. And of course, if these things are going to happen this way, then come 2027, we are going to come out in large numbers, Mr. President. We'll take votes and we'll take those people home, including you. If at all you're not going to fight for our own rights as your people in this nation. Thank you so much. I'm very angered, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend Martin. I understand your anger, and you are perfectly in order to be angry because the situation where you're in, out of university, without a job, is something that I have lived through myself. In fact, when I finished university, I did not get a job until I was elected as a member of parliament. But that's not for another day. But let me tell Martin that next week, for example, as part of our housing program, just hold on. As part of our housing program, we will be hiring 3,600 professionals like yourself. I want to challenge you, Martin. There will be an advertisement next week for engineers, architects, quantity surveyors, and many in the construction field, because we are looking for people who are going to work with our professional firms in our housing program. Let me also tell you, Martin, that we need to separate the issues that are correct and the issues that are fake news. The issue of some minister being found in Dubai, I don't know, last week, with $200 million or something, is fake news. That is not true. On matters to do with people you have mentioned were in different areas, today, I am here as a scientist, right? And many other people are doing many things from fields they did not necessarily train in. Because at a certain level, it is a management issue. It is a leadership issue. It is an issue about leading an organization. So I have heard you on some of the incompetent people you have said, some of the corrupt people you have said. I have listened to you. But let me say this to the public. Of the fertilizer that we supply to the Kenyan public, almost 6 million bags, 20,000 bags were the ones with a challenge. We isolated the 20,000 bags. It is not even 1% of the fertilizer that we supplied to the Kenyan public. I do not want an impression to be created as though the fertilizer we supply to the people of Kenya in millions had any challenge. And when we detected a problem with the 20,000, we not only recalled the ones that had not been sold, but we made sure that
our Nini is on Google Map.
I made sure that any farmer who had used fertilizer that was not correct was compensated. They were given an extra bag of fertilizer for them so that they don't end up in losses. I have heard you, Martin, as I have heard all the good people here. But let me say this in closing. This feedback is very
close, but
Kindly, can I also have an opportunity to speak, Mr. President, before you finish?
If you can.
Man, it was a riot. He was lying to their faces there. And some of them couldn't take it. Hey, lie. Oh, lies. Like, he is there to understand the Gen Z so that they won't bring the whole country down on his head, right? Then he's lying. He's defending the corrupt people. They are accusing him of defending his friends who are corrupt people. And in his defense, he kept saying it. That's fake news. That's the fertilizer scam is less than 1%. I'm like, no, it's more than that. Google is there. There is evidence. Then what about all this money that you are taking? All this loan that you're talking about? What are you using them for? Ruto started attaching the loan he collected in Germany to what he used it for. The one he collected in China, what he used it for. The one he collected from America, what he used it for. The World Bank, the IMF. Nigerians, they listen, say, how do you wish that you have somebody, even if not lying the lie, at least let him lie with figures, that you have to do a lot of research before you can find anything to say, no, it's gonna, you know what I mean now, right? Oh, poor Ruto. You were supposed to be one malam from Zamfara. Eh? And you'll be Senate president in Nigeria, or you even be president. Nobody go question you. Anybody will come for you, everybody will just say they don't like the northern Nigeria. That's why they are coming for you. But see, Ruto, they explain. Nigerians can't really relate. Can they? Can you? Can you relate to any of your leader like this? The last time you had something closer to this, it was a good luck Egberejo lantern. It was there. They said he's too soft. They could push him anywhere. We need a strong man. But can you relate anymore to have your president being accountable to you like this? At least, even if he's lying.
Go on, and I can tell you Every commitment that I made, I said I am going to appoint the judges that were not there. I did. I said I'm going to operationalize the fund for the police, independent police. I did. I said I am going to enhance the budget of the judiciary. I did. You know, when people want to conveniently say a few things that propagate a certain narrative, it is easy. But let me leave that there. Let me go back to your the Mosop Kurgung story. I want to tell you, my good brother, we have stalled roads in Kenya. In fact, the budget, the debt we have on roads is 910 billion. Because we rolled out a program that we didn't have money to do. It is what is troubling me now. It is why many people are asking me, why are you outside the country? I went to China, for example, and I got 40 billion shillings to do at least 8 roads that were stalled. I have come back from the US, and we have had a consultation, and we are getting money to be able to roll out some of our roads, courtesy of concessional funding from the World Bank. I have had conversations with the president of Germany, and they are giving us money under the same program for us to be able to meet some of our programs. I want to tell my good friend from Osop that we are focused on these areas. These roads did not stall yesterday. These roads have stalled for a while. We are figuring out how to make sure that we deal with that situation. And my apologies that maybe the minister did not keep his word, and I'm going to remind him. Let me do the following. On fertilizer, I want to agree with you on this subject of fertilizer first. Let me say this. Fertilizer has made a very big difference in Kenya. Because of our program on fertilizer, we have managed to increase our food productivity. For example, on maize alone, from 44 million bags to 67 million bags last year. This year, we are going to pay the highest bonus ever in Kenyan history for our tea. In fact, our tea production, because of the support we gave KTDA, has increased from last year. It was 180 billion shillings that we collected from our tea. This year, it's going up to 210 billion. On coffee, the average payment of coffee last year was in the region of 70-80. As I talk to you now, because we supported our tea farmers, the average payment for our coffee is in the region of between 100, 120, in some very good cases, 129 shillings per kilo. The whole array of what we have done with fertilizer is phenomenal. And therefore, I understand when somebody like my friend from Morsop gets annoyed when there are people who want to sabotage a program that is making a very big difference in Kenya. And that is the reason why I didn't delay 1 minute. When this issue of fake fertilizer came into the public, all the officials that were involved in it at the National Cereals and Produce Board were charged. When the minister is when there is evidence gathered enough for the minister to be held to account, I want to promise you that I will fire him, and any other minister for that matter, if there is sufficient evidence to hold anybody accountable. Arrogance. I agree with you that not everybody understands communication. Let me tell you, my good friend from Mosop, the day you become a public speaker, you will know how easy it is to make a mistake in the public. Sometimes you say things that you did not mean, but it comes out very badly. So whether it is the member of parliament for Molo, the member for parliament for Molo is a young man. I can tell you that young man is doing his very best. In fact, when I made him the chair of finance committee, many people told me he was too young. I shouldn't have made it. But I wanted to test also young people. And I wanted to mentor young people. And I want to say, he has made mistakes. But I want to tell you that young man is bright. He has a bright future. He made mistakes. I will apologize for him. Maybe he said what he shouldn't have said. But they are among the young people I am mentoring so that they can become leaders tomorrow. Same case with my friend Kimani Ichung'wah.
I mean, that's the president of Kenya. I mean, I'm sorry. I apologize. Even if he didn't mean it, even if he is lying, at that moment, when you read the room, right, you still have to come down from wherever else you put yourself or whatever you think you are. He is doing his best to convince a generation that is not like their parents. He is fighting the battle of his life. It is going to consume him eventually, but it is significant to see that you could still see someone who actually doesn't turn his whole back on, on sense of reasoning. Like, come on, let's logic. Those who turn logic on his head, like those inside that contraption. A governor, this one, a governor of Niger State, he gathered their clerics, people who are to come and pray for him, I don't know. Then he just ordered his DSS security guys to beat one up, one of those afar. He said, go and deal with him very, very well and take him away. In Nigeria, where your criminal leaders live like kings, right? This one happened in Niger. Now that bank could be this.
Allah ya ji kanta ya sa ta huta za mu nema malam daya ina ke mutan gani da zan mare ko na sai malam ne slap him first. When I said slap him, right? Malam ne go and arrest him. That's serious. Deal with him well. Because you look at the number parish. Ina da suma, ina da madaci. Kai malam ba shi microphone tsaya wurin. Ya zuwa da gawar.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما يلفظ ولا يؤتون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما ولا العظيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك وحبيبك ونبيك ورسولك الفاتح لما أغلق وحبيبنا وقربنا بكثرة صلاة وطاعة لديه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم الله في أمور التوكل وفي الأصحاب كصائب توسل محمد المبعوث بالعبادة وفاطمة الزهراء بالمتداهل اللهم بالحق.
He committed assault. Arrest him. Go and deal with him very, very well. Deal with him very well. And everybody understands what it means to say, go and deal with him very well. He can't sit down back and say, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin Maliki Abidi Yakana Budu Yakana Sayyidina Siratali Mustaqim Yakana Budu Yakana Wali. Like, you see the madness, eh? That is what the contraption is all about. You know, the British Prime Minister, the new British Prime Minister says, if you are given a public office, right, it is a privilege. No. Public office is a right to the, for the politicians in Nigeria, the criminals, the citizens. If they dare do anything, construct a 1 kilometer road, you should consider that as a privilege. They can choose not to do it. If you question them, they can get you arrested, assaulted, and imprisoned. They are going to do the ablution the next hour to go and pray to Allah Allahu Akbar, like that. A totally lawless, godless place filled with hypocrites. Small power. One lawyer, they say the lawyer, they work with the Ministry of Justice in Abuja. Okay, lawyer. Then he lives in an estate inside Abuja. Now that Abuja insecurity is making them to make different rules and different laws for all estates all over Nigeria. No, open your boot, close your boot, open your pocket, put them back in. All these security measures, right? I don't know now where your country has become. But small power, small power, no power. And everybody will use it as at when due. Take a look at this guy. And the security guy at his own residence, his estate, I believe.
As a tenant, you're an idiot. Let's have a solution. Don't insult me again. You're an idiot. Look at this idiot. You have nothing for me. For me to be opening my boot before I go to my house.
So you are who? You are the owner of this estate, right?
Yes. I have a stake on this estate.
Nobody said I don't have a stake.
I have a stake on this estate, and I'm going to put it on my house. I have 3 houses here.
Can you listen to yourself what you're doing? Just open your gate. Open the gate, my friend. Open this gate, my friend. Open.
Bastard! If you try nonsense with me, you will regret it for the rest of your life. And I'll show you.
You see,
move in front of my house.
This is just
move in front.
Nobody's saying that you should not go.
Okay, go and pick Paluka. Go and pick Paluka. If you come here, you see that your humanity, let me know. You see that humanity, not like me. Sorry, sir. Yes. Why are you doing like that? I'm ready to fight you. Bastard!
I know I'm leaving you.
Don't leave me. Come on, fight me. I will make sure I deal with you. Honestly, this is your second time, Abi. This is your second time, Abi. This is your second time, Abi.
Wait.
In my house, in my own house, you never placed anything here. We never discussed it in the meeting. You now say I should be opening my boot before I leave my house. What's an insult? I was caught about 29 years back. I'm MNI, and I will make sure I deal with you.
You are just rambling. You say you deal with me. Yes. This is the second time you are making your
go and carry the car. You will see my hand soon next.
As what? Now you walk in and look, I don't need to talk too much. I've just had one. Just see. If this guy is coming out, I should be.
Security man. Mr. Security, you see, everyone coming into this estate, including the residents, you need to check their boot. They need to let you know what they are bringing in or what they are taking out of this estate. You understand? Or you will lose your job. Yes, sir. I understand, sir. Yes, ma'am. The resident comes back and says, hey, please, Oga, you need to open your boot for us to check before you go in. Are you mad? Are you crazy? Oh, which kind of life be this? How you want to actually navigate this kind of world? Nigeria. People went to work. I didn't even know that this is possible, okay, until I saw the video. Until I see the video. They said this one a deputy leader, deputy whatever. He entered local government area in Lagos and started packing documents. They say he's packing sensitive documents, so they couldn't even call the police. Inside that contraption, where everyone can just do whatever they like. I mean, like this one.
Deputy leader Lonji sensitive documents of the local government. Only 250 actually 250 local council every month.
Yes, the leader took law into our hands.
Which law?
The leader took us into our hands. We went to sign overjoyed with the chairman. Share money together. Let them come approve it. She wants to approve law. Let them come approve it.
250,000 every month.
She took overjoyed with the chairman.
You
stole
council's property.
Approve it.
It's in your car. Kojade. You stole council's property.
The council engineer, the council.
You refuse. You refuse to let us liberate the Ikorodu West.
It is because you are not transparent.
You refuse. It's about me.
You are not transparent.
It's not about me. It's about Ikorodu West.
Why are you
This is me and this is
Yeah, you are not transparent.
It's about Ikorodu West.
The money you sign with Chama, come and sell it. Yes. Sign. What's up?
But if I over 250 every month, you want to Chairman? You want to Chairman? Let them go overdraft every month. Every month.
Come and prove it.
I gave Chairman overdraft.
Prove yourself.
Twice. With the unanimous vote. Unanimous vote. Chairman, you overdraft twice. Chairman has collected overdraft 10 times.
I acted. None of them came.
It is your fault. You cannot control the house. You cannot control the house. You cannot control the house. You are stealing council's property. Sensitive documents are in your car. He was the chairman. He was the chairman. That's all I did document.
Thousand, those ones are fighting for. Princess. Now your councillors be that. Ikorodu West, abi Ikorodu East lẹ́yìn. We will start identity crisis here. If Princess is here with us, probably she should be able to tell us. She Ikorodu West, anything abi Ikorodu North. A lawless place. I don't know how you would describe it. I saw for the first time. You know what? I have been hearing that Yetiala, they have their own army. Have you ever seen them? Have you? I'll show you. But it is just that the picture you are going to see next is going to be that of the Yetiala army and Nigeria army. Then they were fighting over territory. Yetiala is like, this is our territory. With their AK-47. Nigerian army also, I know you need to move. I am Nigerian army. I am above all. No, you are not. I'm not moving. This is our territory. But that's not the point. Yetiala army actually exists. Bodejo, the one that is their leader, that was on trial for terrorism, has been released. All charges dropped. And his boys are carrying AK-47. But Nnamdi Kanu is in prison for asking for referendum. I don't understand. But take a look at this. Yetiala army and Nigeria army fighting over territory. The short story.
Look at me very well. Look at me. I'll stop the road. Do whatever you want.
The person don't even understand anymore. You don't even know which one is the real army or real police anymore. Terrorists, kidnappers, money launderers, including these ones, my bunkerers. Everybody, they wear uniform. Just don't know which of them you're going to run into. You have no idea. But here, ladies and gentlemen, the supposed medical student of University of Lagos protesting that they've not been having electricity. Which kind of life it is? How are they reading? Students in that contraption too. We want light. I don't even know what they are saying. We want fight. We want light. It doesn't even matter. Now, bread caused the revolution in France. Bread caused the French Revolution that saw the end of monarchy in France and brought republic to France. Yes, bread. Now one bakery increased price of bread because the king, the monarch, placed a tax on flour and all of stuff like that. Oman lead to a revolution in France. Change France forever. That is why I know they tell them before they start burning building. It is in the spirit. That's how they ended their monarchy. Where we say France no get king or queen, anything. Bread, you electricity inside a place where you have millions of people. People just find alternative until they don't have alternatives, and they have to protest and say, "We want light. We want light." Stuffs like that. Again, that's another thing I need to show you. In this Orogbodiyan, we just came back from the UK. As we landed there for Edo, what do you call it, airport. I saw the news filter through the town that some people, poor people again, fighting themselves over who is going to be their governor next or who is not going to be their governor next, okay? Poor people attacking themselves for politicians who are also going to end up abandoning them. This one's get petition. They were beaten up by the... Listen.
This man that they fight and with money. See him out. Labor too many for war 2 for Wogora. They say we too many for war 2 for Wogora. They labor not go beat them for Wogora. Then they beat us councillor. The councillor of war 2 say na speaker say na.
Presently where we are now. So we were here waiting for our governor to come. While the PDP councillor and others, they just called themselves. They said that the speaker sent them, that they should come and chase us away from here, that we should go to our secretariat, that we don't have right to do anything anywhere. I was trying to film what is going on. The councillor just come and say, want to take my phone. I told him I will mate. He just gripped me and hit me twice. And this is the result here.
They will do all of that wahala only to end up in the hands of these rogues that are going to use their money to buy properties abroad, buy properties in the waterlogged Lagos. Take some of the money and enjoy life. While they will come back and talk to them about how they want to improve healthcare, how they want to send their children to school, how we are going to others. Like, who does that? Sick, yeah? Well, you haven't seen sick. Here is another one. People have seen videos of the assault of the EFCC on Nigerians. I mean, I have shown some of the videos. Some of them are so horrible that you can't even share them publicly. If you have any decency, I've seen people share them. That's why I saw them. But don't spread. Man, it's so disgusting to see. Only just because they suspected that they are fraudsters. So the process is so crude that innocent people have also been attacked, brutalized, their properties vandalized, and there's nothing that followed that. So people were planning that they were going to stage a protest. So they started threatening them. If you come out, that means you want to try and overthrow thiefnubu. You want to make Nigeria ungovernable. So people didn't come out to protest against the EFCC. Rather, people came out to support the EFCC. Nigerian youth. Sure. Okay. Some Nigerian youth. Because they are Nigerians, aren't they? I mean, watch now and listen to them. In that contraption.
Today we are gathered here in solidarity with the leadership and the good work that the EFCC is doing in ensuring sanity in our public life. It is on record that the new leadership of the EFCC is working assiduously towards ensuring that they stamp out corruption in our society. It is unfortunate that some unscrupulous elements that are being sponsored by Yahoo boys, criminals, criminal politicians who have issues with the EFCC are sponsoring some irresponsible people in the society to be launching a campaign of calumny against the EFCC. So we are here in solidarity with the FCC. Unfortunately, these people that have been at the forefront on social media, it is obviously clear that they are social media warriors.
Great Nigerian people. Today, we have convened on the grounds of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, representing the over 120 million Nigerian young and middle-aged citizens. We own this country, and we will not give room or space or legs for criminal entities or elements, fiendish individuals, sponsored by fifth columnists, who are trying at all costs to ensure that Nigeria remains in the murky waters of backwardness. Great Nigerian people, great Nigerian people, this is our nation. It is ours to defend, it is ours to rescue, and it is on our shoulders as young Nigerians to ensure that we navigate the country to where it should be. All over the world, no country has developed or advanced faster than the integrity, the will, the strong will or determination of our youth. As Nigerian youth,
who are those people? What is it? This country have endured enough, and because this man here, the new EFCC chairman and his team are doing a wonderful job that we know, they are now stepping on toes, and that is what Nigerians want them to do, step on those toes, because enough is enough, like these people have said. So we are here to just demonstrate that we are not all criminals, and that these people doing this in their faceless. And now it is clear that they are faceless, because now we are here, where are they? And we are here with a letter for the records, for both the chairman and the EFCC, to encourage them, to thank them, to pass a vote of confidence on them, and to tell them at any time that Nigerians of goodwill, who are in the large majority, are ready to defend them. We thank.
Today we are gathered here in solidarity.
Somebody said that the Niger Gen Z be that. See Nigerian Gen Z. We are here for them to step on toes. AFCC is doing a wonderful job. But where is Yeye Bello? A waste of energy and waste of just waste of space. But those are not the Nigeria Gen Z. You go soon see those Nigeria Gen Z. At the talk with the Gen Alpha, which they said is going to be more brutal. You shall go see all the generations that are going to team together. People are already picking up their own choice. Or my revolution starts today. Don't worry, this is a safe place, okay? Tell me. Me, I said it last night that if I am in Nigeria when this shit is going to eat the fan, because it's going to happen. Don't worry, don't stress yourself. We'll not go pick date. It will not be date or anything. It's going to happen. So if you have a chance to just, if we are quick to shut the borders, I know Nigeria no get border, but you shall know all the escape routes. Like say we get able to hold all these criminals, let's say 95% of them. And you make sure that their planes are unable to fly or leave Nigeria. So who and who go be your owner? This way, say you don't go want anybody drag with you. Somebody said there's some way cool. So people will want some way cool many. You go need to find other things. Okay. Some people are now fighting over who and who go actually take care with the wiki, thiefnubu, akwabiole, and even Bokwari. And others like that. Somebody said that make them not drag Buratai the butcher with them. Wherever in day, may they just anybody we first see him, I better God beg you. Now Buratai the butcher me I want. Like people are already kind of having their eyes. Along, they're already having their eyes on these rogues. I told you the other time, I said, if you kind of have a chance, if the criminal politicians in Nigeria have a chance to see how much they are actually hated, because what they thought is fear is not fear. It's not really fear. It is cemented, compressed hatred. It go burst. The day it burst, now then, where the weekend go, no, see people with the drum for them. Those way they beat the drum for them, when they dance, when they entertain us, so right? Now then go use the drum and the stick beat them to death. If they catch them. So they treat you like you're nothing. And that is why thiefnubu, out of disrespect, no respect for the rule of law, I decided to sign what he called the Samoa deal, all for money. Doesn't care about, people who have different sexual orientation and all that, gay, lesbians, and then LGBTQ. No, he doesn't give a damn. But he wanted the money. And somebody had this to say on the matter. This is going to be the last one. Then we will take calls.
It completely violates Nigerian Chapter 2 of the Nigerian Constitution and also contradicts Chapter 4, 1838 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which has been incorporated as part of Nigerian law. The issue of Samoa agreement is a very painful one because I was involved in a negotiation for this, whether Nigeria will sign or not. And prior to 15th of November 2023, when some countries signed the Samoa agreement, Nigeria had made its position known that she was not going to sign because of the provisions. Articles 2.5 of the agreement, Articles 29.5 of the agreement, Articles 62.2 of the agreement, and then you have Article 97, Article 88, all these articles of the agreement, that made Nigeria to say that she was not going to sign. They were not surprised that on the 28th of June 2024, that a diplomat, in Brussels, signed on behalf of Nigeria. When we had a meeting with members of National Assembly on Wednesday, I was in that meeting, members of National Assembly, including the chairman of committee who are involved with treaties and protocols and all that, National Assembly, said that they were not consulted. So who was consulted in the whole thing? I mean, I don't even know the local standard of the Minister for Budget and Planning with this treaty. How come that the Minister for Budget and Planning is not speaking on behalf of National Assembly about this treaty? They were not consulted, so who was consulted? And the articles, the offensive articles, were not deleted. We told them during the negotiation that if you want Nigeria to sign, you have to expunge all those articles of the agreement, and they said no. And the agreement has no interpretation status. You know what interpretation section means? That when you have an agreement, below you have interpretation. This is this. It has no that. The agreement has no provision for reservation, which means what we have just signed is like a death warrant. Don't forget that the EU is the one that is imposing this agreement on African countries. And first, the EU is obsessed with LGBT, abortion, transgender, and all that. And we are saying, look, we are different people. I mean, you stay in your country and you do that. You don't stay in your country and be telling us how to run our country and all that. To imbibe transgender, to imbibe abortion, to imbibe even corruption, comprehensive sexuality education, which teaches children how to have so-called safe sex, how to use contraceptives and have safe sex without the consent of their parents. We are saying that this is very, very bad. And this can undo Nigeria because it's not only political problems or insecurity that's a problem. These are cultural, moral, and religious issues. When we had a meeting with the Muslims on Wednesday in Abuja, they are very, very, very angry. And they said, look, this is unacceptable. It cannot be that Nigeria, that is supposed to be a big brother in Africa, has signed this. Other African countries have not signed. Namibia has not signed. 34 other African, Pacific, and Caribbean countries have not signed. So why should Nigeria sign? So, and the surprising thing is that, look, that this minister, this is a diplomat, I don't want to mention his name, signed this without consulting members of National Assembly. And then I say, look, we are not even aware, about what is happening. So we are saying that Nigeria must unsign this agreement because it is detrimental to Nigerian interests. It's not for Nigerian interests. I mean, that this agreement came from the Cotonou Agreement. This is more or less Cotonou Agreement that has provisions for real economic development of a country. That is a perfect agreement. But 2000, it was amended to include all these European Union obnoxious provisions, LGBT, safe-sex, comparative sexuality education, transgender. And then we are saying, no. Why didn't you leave the Cotonou Agreement the way it was? You have not amended it and went to Samoa to sign, and you have all these African countries making them parties, and which means that, and the most annoying aspect of it is that this Samoa Agreement, even without Nigeria domestication, that, as a lawyer, I know that when Nigeria operate the dual system, that is when treaties are signed, they are domesticated by virtue of Section 12 of the Constitution. But the way this agreement is crafted in such a way that once an African country signs, it becomes binding. EU will send their envoy here, and they will continue to ask, and they continue to get Nigeria to start providing. So what we are saying is that, look, there's an error in the whole thing, okay? Because the minister we have heard has come up to explain that, well, it's in Nigerian interest. How? How is Nigerian interest? First of all, Nigeria, you don't carry the people along. We are not consulted. We, the people of Nigeria, represented by senators and honorable members of the House of Assembly, were not consulted. So who was consulted? Somebody just went and put pen to paper, and then did not consult, probably over a cup of tea or.
It's me. I signed it. Yes. Because everybody wants to start acting stupid and, you can't even mention the name of the guy in Brussels. And I quickly went on, I went online to go and see Nigeria embassy in Belgium, in Brussels. It said nothing to show right now. Nothing. So somebody signed it. That person get name. What is that person's name? Nothing to show right now. Nigeria. Anyway, I'll leave it like that. So I'm going to go take calls. Let's take calls. Let's kind of bridge the gap. What time is it? Yeah, I can still do an hour calls, okay? So thank you so much for joining me this afternoon, right? I am going to go on a short break. Now, if you are interested in being part of the charts, all you have to do, pick up your phone and dial the number on the screen. WhatsApp only. There you go. starts me back. Hang on. Let's go see if this is my line that is dropping and then dropping out has something to do with that. And if I have any problem with my line, that means I'm going to take a break early. Give me a sec. What's this? Okay. Maybe that will do. Coming back.
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
Forget about it. Anyway, welcome back. So I might be having the issue with that line, or I just don't have any traffic on it, you will say. So I'm just going to use the rest of my time to read. So we can keep calls out of it now, okay? And if probably you have other things you're doing this afternoon, well, you probably could still listen to this while you are doing that, okay? So I want us to go back to our white malice. Indeed, I should have alerted you though, right? But I thought we could use this afternoon to do some catch-up since we have a lot of catch-up to do. So I'm going to just go straight, okay? I know. The moment I have switched now, we can't take calls anymore, okay? So if you have anything you want to add or say, we'll probably have to keep that till later in the evening if I happen to come back here this evening. So for those of you who have been following the White Malice reading for a while, here is going to be chapter 16. So chapter 16 of the White Malice is to remind us the record, the historical record of the neocolonialism in Africa. How the earlier, or should we call them the earliest revolutionaries were indeed infiltrated and their causes, right, mostly destroyed at the end. So we are currently at a chapter, we've gone through to chapter 15. So we will be continuing from chapter 16. It's about reading history, you know. You can be driving and listen to this. You can be walking and be listening to it. Yeah, it's just like, you know. Anyway, enough. So what I'm going to do now is that I'll cover the chapter 16, and then we may call it an afternoon. So I'll take my time. So chapter 16, things fall apart. Things fall apart. Despite the moments of tension on the day of independence, the Congo was joyful and calm. For the first time in their history, the Congolese had a government that had been elected by them on a democratic basis. Lumumba and his family had been living in a home in Boulevard Albert. These streets, known today as Boulevard 30 Juin, to mark the Day of Freedom, lay in the central part of Leopoldville, which during the colonial era had been exclusively for people with white skin. In February 1960, Lumumba been able to purchase this house by virtue of his nomination to the College of 6 Commissioners. Now, the family were preparing to move into the official residence of the Prime Minister on Avenue Tilkens, now Avenue de Fleuve Congo, the Fleuve Congo, which runs along the river upstream from the Palais de la Nation. It had previously been the official residence of Governor General Cornelis, who moved out in the first week of July. Joseph Kasavubu moved into the president's official residence on Mount Stanley, now Mount Ungalema, the former residence of the governor of Leopoldville province, which overlooked the Kinsuka Rapids of the Congo River. Suddenly, but suddenly, less than a week after independence, the period of building and of change was shattered. On the 5th of July, a mutiny broke out among the ranks of the National Security Force, the Force Publique. This army of 25,000 strong had expected their lives to improve substantially at independence, but nothing had changed. All the officers were Belgian, and not one army sergeant had even been made a second lieutenant. Conditions of service and of pay had remained the same. As Nzogola Ntalaja explained, the explosion of anger amongst the soldiers of the Force Publique had started with General Emile Janssens, commander of the Colonial Army, who had been kept at his post by the new government of independent Congo. Given a chance of discontent for lack of promotions among non-commissioned officers and the rank and file, the general convened a meeting of the troops at the main army camp in Kinshasa on the 4th July. Nzogola Ntalaja describes what happened next. On the big blackboard in front of the excited troops, he wrote the following words: before independence is equal to after independence. For the men in uniform, he told them there would be no changes as a result of independence. Discipline will be maintained as usual, and white officers would remain in command. Many Belgian citizens panicked. Fearful for their safety, 6,000 of them fled to Brazzaville. On the night of 7th July and the next day, I went around my neighborhood, said Frank Galushi, second secretary at the U.S. Embassy. And remember a houseboy coming out and telling me his employer had said, take everything, it's all yours. Another said, they left the photograph, so they left the phonograph playing. Should I turn it off? People fled literally in their nightgowns. The neighborhoods were deserted for quite some time. Within 48 hours, Leopoldville had barely any magistrates, doctors, technicians, or administrators. On 10th July, the Belgian government sent Belgian paratroops and other crack units to the Congo, claiming their purpose was to protect Belgian citizens. Before long, 10,000 Belgian troops had entered the country. The military intervention contravened international law. In 1957, the United Nations General Assembly had adopted a resolution instructing member states to develop amicable and tolerant relationships based on, example, non-intervention in the internal affairs of the states. It built on a 1949 resolution asking member states to refrain from any direct or indirect action intended to jeopardize the freedom and independence or the integrity of any states to incite any state to internal struggle. So, the fundamental agreed upon between the Belgium and the Congo on the 19th May during the roundtable had set out a treaty for friendship, assistance, and collaboration. But in no way did this disqualify or qualify Belgium, rather, to intervene militarily. The new Congo government was deeply suspicious of Belgium's motives. Such a swift return of Belgian troops within 10 days was a disturbing indication that they had plans to recolonize the territory. Then, on 11th July, Moise Tshombe's Konakat party announced the secession of Katanga. This move was actively supported by the Belgian government and also by Union Miniere, which now paid all its taxes to the Tshombe government, not to the central government. Prime Minister Lumumba's first inclination was to appeal to the US for support, even though the US was a NATO ally of Belgium. This is a sign of the confidence and faith Lumumba had at this time in America's support for the decolonizing nations of Africa and for democracy. He approached US Ambassador Timberlake, asking for military assistance from the American government to force the Belgian troops out. The Congolese government confirmed in writing its request for a contingent of 3,000 men to be sent without delay to Leopoldville. But to Lumumba's surprise and disappointment, American military help was not forthcoming. The US advised the Congolese government to turn to the United Nations as the most appropriate recourse for help. In fact, the US was already responding to the new developments in the Congo with military maneuvers, but not the kind that Lumumba was asking for. On the 9th of July, the US had sent the USS Wasp, a USS Navy aircraft carrier, to the South Atlantic off the Congo's coast with 6 military helicopters rather. Charlie Lamar, then a gunnery sergeant in the US Marine Corps, was on this operation. The Wasp took up their fighters, he said later, and put us aboard. We went to the Congo. The task force returned to the US on the 1st August. The operation was described officially as an effort to calm things down in the Congo and to assist a potential mass evacuation of Americans. But Lamar, in a 2002 online conversation with some other veterans, explained that it was nothing of the sort. In fact, it was a reconnaissance operation. We were there, he said, to photograph and map portions of the west coast of Africa for future marine amphibious landings. The Congo War brought it on. Ed Shear, a Marine involved in an exercise in 1961 in the Gulf of Guinea, described the deployments to the Congo in 1960 as efforts made by US Navy UDT, Underwater Demolition Team, and 2nd Marine Division Recon personnel to examine underwater and shoreline alike for obstacles and conditions of recognized importance to forces contemplating the landing of battalion and larger-sized landing teams of the time. He adds, no deployment or reconnaissance of a similar nature were known to have occurred previously in the same region. Prime Minister Lumumba and his government had no idea about the American naval operation. He consulted Ralph Bunche, who was in Leopoldville as the representative of the United Nations Secretary General, Dag Hammarskjöld, to ask for United Nations help to protect the Congo and its independence. Then Lumumba and Kasavubu sent a cable to New York requesting United Nations military assistance to remove the Belgians and to end the secession of Katanga. Amarskot, who had been keenly aware of Belgium's failure to prepare his colony for self-government, had already prepared the groundwork to send technical and other assistance to the Congo. Now, in this newly critical situation, he asked the Security Council to meet immediately to review the situation. On the 14th July, it passed a resolution calling on Belgium to withdraw all its troops from the Congo and for the United Nations to provide military and other assistance to the new republic. The operation will be known as Organisation des Nations Unies au Congo, or HONUC. The first 3,000 UN soldiers, all from African nations, arrived within 3 days, followed by 10,000 more in the next 2 weeks. One UN unit was sent to Camp Adi at Diceville, near Leopoldville. All along the route, civilians shared them, and the soldiers at Camp Adi greeted them with smiles. The Cascades Blues, as the UN soldiers were called because of their blue helmets, were pleased and relieved. They had been led to expect a frosty welcome. In addition, a large civilian UN task force was sent to help fill the void in public administration, at airfields, in hospitals, in communications at the central bank, in the police, and for other essential services. The void was growing larger as more and more Belgians left the newly independent country. In the 1,800-bed Leopoldville General Hospital, only 3 doctors stayed on: an American surgeon, a Belgian specialist in internal medicine, and an Egyptian gynecologist. Many industries and businesses were run by skeleton staffs, and courts were closed. The situation was deteriorating rapidly. It was further aggravated when Kasavubu and Lumumba were denied landing rights on a flight to Elizabethville, and so which was under the control of Belgian troops. They then broke up the Congo's relation with Belgium. Lumumba and Kasavubu sought to reassure the soldiers of the Force Publique, promising better conditions of service and promotions, and that racial discrimination will be made illegal. As a marker of change, the name Force Publique was changed to Armée Nationale Congolaise, that's a Congolese National Army. As well, the senior Belgians who had run the force were dismissed and replaced. Victor Lundula, who had served as an elected mayor of a commune in the city of Jadotville from 1957 to 1960, following the very first municipal elections held in the Belgian Congo in 1957, in 3 cities only, namely Leopoldville, Elizabethville, and Jadotville, was appointed commander-in-chief of the army with the rank of general. Joseph Desire Mobutu was made his chief of staff with the rank of lieutenant colonel. Both appointments, Nzogola Untalaja observed, were ill-advised. Lundola did not have the qualifications to manage a modern army. As for Mobutu, Lumumba made a serious blunder based on his political naivety and his overconfidence with regard to commanding the loyalty of people in his entourage. He ignored the well-founded rumors about Mobutu's ties to the Belgian and American intelligence services. In appointing Mobutu to this sensitive position, Nzogola Ntalaja wrote, Lumumba had unwittingly chosen his own Judas. Antoine Gizenga, Lumumba's loyal deputy prime minister, saw that Mobutu had warmed his way into the appointment, and that once he had it, he made little effort to go and see the soldiers and tackle their concerns. He sought to intervene. While Mobutu was out of the capital on an unofficial trip, Gizenga gave his post to Maurice Mpolo, the Minister of Youth and Sports. When Mobutu returned to Leopoldville, he was furious at the change and went to Lumumba to demand the rollback. But complained Gizenga, Lumumba was too sentimental and didn't perceive the danger that roamed around him. Lumumba had a weakness for Mobutu. Gizenga noted with frustration. He regarded him as his son, a sweet lamb, and was affected by his tears. Instead of supporting Gizenga's intervention, Lumumba instructed Mpolo to leave the army and return to his ministry. Mpolo did. Mobutu then ordered his arrest, but his soldiers failed to carry out the order. Charmed by Mobutu, Lumumba was giving him, rather than Gizenga, the benefit of the doubt. He was concerned by Gizenga's harsh judgment of his new chief of staff and asked him to be more understanding. Nkrumah was determined to do everything possible to support the liberty of the Congo. On 15th July, almost 1,200 Ghanaian soldiers were flown to Leopoldville. 192 more were waiting in Accra for transports, with 156 trucks and 160 tons of stores. By 25th July, Ghanaian troops numbering 2,340 were the largest single national contingent in the United Nations force, which by then totaled 8,396. There were also about 37 Ghanaian police officers in the Congo. Senior Ghanaian ministers and officials visited Congo frequently. But tensions were imagined that had not been anticipated by Nkrumah. The cause was the commander-in-chief of the Ghanaian contingents, Major General Henry Templar Alexander, who had been seconded from the British Army to serve as Ghana's chief of defense. According to the magazine's topic, he was a handsome, whip-cord soldier, slight, but with huge black eyebrows and clipped graying mustache. Alexander was an experienced senior military officer, noted Inderjeet Rike, a major general in the Indian Army, who was serving as Amash Kod's military advisor in the Congo. Still, Rike believed that Alexander had little understanding of the politics of peacekeeping, and he looked at the Congo crisis through the prism of imperialism or imperial policing. What he did not seem to understand was that the United Nations was not an impartial power and was not entitled to enforce its will on the Congolese. And since Alexander did not speak French, Lingala, Kiswahili, or Kikongo, he had to rely on English speakers to obtain any sense of what was going on. Alexander avoided the British embassy, apparently on the grounds that it was too closely linked with colonialism. Instead, he chose to seek logistics support from the American embassy. In African Tightrope, a memoir, Alexander later wrote about his 2 years as Nkrumah's chief of staff. He drew attention to his close contact with the US embassy, including with the thin as a reed Claire Timberlake, the new American ambassador. On his arrival in the Congo, recorded Alexander, I was seen immediately by Mr. Timberlake, a man to whom I took an immediate liking. And the liking was mutual. On 15th July, Timberlake reported to Washington that Alexander was level-headed and broad-gauged. Alexander was also in close contact with the US ambassador in Ghana. Most of the officers of the Ghanaian troops were white. even though it had been 3 years since Ghana's independence, Alexander had failed to reconstitute the Ghanaian units that went to the Congo so that they would be offered by Ghanaians. Alexander displayed deeply held racism. In his memoir, he observed that life to the African is of much less value than to the European. After arriving in July to take up the post of CIA chief of station, Larry Devlin witnessed an occasion in which Alexander stated that the Congolese leadership had not yet come down from the trees. Luckily, noted Devlin, neither Bomboko nor Kanza, who were present, appeared to have heard this offensive remark. An immediate problem caused by Alexander was his decision on 15 July to disarm the ANC troops. This action and Alexander's forceful personality was widely admired by the Western press. From Accra, the British High Commissioner reported to London on Alexander's heroic exploits. It was only because of Alexander, he said, that mass murder and looting had been prevented in Leopoldville, and that Alexander single-handed had prevented a huge mob from lynching someone. It was particularly impressive, he said, because Bunche was not backing him. Bunche, he added, though he may be a first-class mediator, is evidently quite useless as a man of action in a situation like this. He spent all his time wandering between his hotel room and the American embassy for comfort and Coca-Cola, while Alexander moved from one trouble spot to another. This was a British ambassador the British ambassador to Ghana, then reporting back to their own London office too. But Lumumba and his government were appalled by the disarming of the ANC. So too, were Amashkeld and Bunche. All the more so since Alexander was not a member of the United Nations Command. To sideline Alexandra, Amashkeld and Bunche, all the more so since Alexander was, to sideline Alexandra rather. I jumped the line there. So Amashkeld quickly named Bunche as the acting force commander in the Congo. On Bunche's own recommendation, in addition to his position as special representative, Bunche continued in this role until the arrival of Major General Carl von Horn to act as the Supreme Commander of the United Nations Force in the Congo. Bunche insisted that the weapons of ANC soldiers be handed back to them. When Bunche returned to New York, obviously very tired, he had a good deal to say about Alexander. This rather swashbuckling soldier, he said with evident irritation, thought that he had answers to the problems of the Congolese army and the maintenance of order, and he had taken a strong but mistaken position on the question of disarming the Congolese troops. Speaking to Rajeshwar Dayal, the Indian diplomat who was preparing to go to the Congo to take over Bunche's role of Amashkod's special representative, Bunche warned him that Alexander was a troublemaker. Alexander did not seem to understand. Bunche complained that the United Nations force was a peace force, not a fighting force, and that it could use arms only in self-defense. It was absolutely necessary that United Nations troops could avoid getting into the extreme position of having to shoot Congolese. But Alexander was ambitious. On several occasions, he put himself forward as the ideal man to take responsibility for the United Nations operational activities in the Congo. He was eager to be at the heart of the action and seemed not to be aware of his unsustainability for the post. Moreover, he did not realize that, as von Horn put it, the concept of this military scion of a colonial power being given carte blanche in the Congo was totally unthinkable. Andrew Jane, Ghana's ambassador to the Congo, was increasingly suspicious of Alexander. He sent urgent messages to Nkrumah, warning him about Alexander's intrigue and subversive action. The dislike for mutual. Alexander depicted Jane in his memoir as a black racist and anti-white, virulently anti-Belgian. An absolute priority for Lumumba and Kasavubu was to force the Belgian troops out of the Congo. On 17th July, they gave an ultimatum to Bunche. They would call for Soviet military intervention if the United Nations had not pushed the Belgian troops out of the Congo within 2 days. The ultimatum was set out in a letter which Lumumba gave to Alexander in Stanleyville. Alexander then flew to Leopoldville with Kalushi and radioed Ambassador Timberlake, asking him to meet him on arrival at Njili Airport, together with Bunche and the commander of the Belgian Metropolitan Troops at the airport. Alexander handed the letter to Bunche, observing that the request it contained was impossible. The meeting at the airport was described in detail by Timberlake to the State Department in 18th July in a cable that was copied to the small group of men involved in the developing crisis. So here is what Timberlake sent to the State Department in July 1960. Alexander feels Kasavubu not happy with direction being taken by Lumumba, but seems to be weak and under latter's thumb. Alexander feels Lumumba is irrational, and so does Bunche. I think at very least we are dealing with a man who is temporarily irrational. I talk at length with Bomboko and Kansa, who said they would call cabinet meeting to be held on arrival, Kasavubu and Lumumba, and would meanwhile line up cabinet members they know or might persuade to go against any such ultimatum. Bomboko considers it illegal since it has neither cabinet nor parliamentary approval. The cable reflects the confidence that Timberlake felt in Alexander. It was sent with a high precedence, NIACT, or night action. NIACT. Like that, NIACT, night action. Which meant that it had to be delivered immediately to the addressee, even in the middle of the night. Some of Lumumba's supporters were concerned about his strategies to remove the Belgians. He is trying to please everyone, complained his deputy, Antoine Gizenga, to Andre Blouin. With his method, we are heading for disaster. Gizenga was grateful for Nkrumah's influence on his leader. Blouin, in turn, was grateful for Gizenga. This man of iron was a loyal friend, she observed. He also saw the situation as it was. His silence was his strong card. He listened and he watched, but he was tenacious. He never forgot his ultimate purpose. Threats to the new government were increasing rapidly on all fronts. Traitors were organizing everywhere. Blouin noted in a memoir, "My country, Africa." In the vice prime minister's office, dossiers disappeared from Gizenga's desk, as well as from mine. I realized my desk was being systematically searched every day. When I locked the drawers with a key, they were callously forced. William Borden, the U.S. ambassador in Brussels, had received the NIAC telegram sent by Timberlake. The next day, he made his first official recommendation and possibly the first official recommendation to this effect made by any American diplomat, politician, military man, or CIA agent, that the U.S. overthrow Lumumba's government. He sent the following cable to the State Department. Lumumba has now maneuvered himself into position of opposition to the West, resistance to United Nations, and increasing dependence on Soviet Union and on Congolese supporters, Chamura, Gizenga, who are pursuing Soviet ends. One sec, I want to sneeze.
10 things you never knew about the 1999 Constitution. Did you know that the 1999 Constitution was promulgated by the Military Decree 24 of 1999? And to think of it, this 1999 Constitution was never subjected to a referendum.
Did you also know that this 1999 Constitution was written by a selected few that never got the consent of the indigenous nationalities or its representation?
Did you know that after writing the 1999 Constitution, it was hidden from the public until after the inauguration of President Obasanjo in 1999?
Funny enough, this 1999 Constitution was not printed by the government press or any known printers in 1999.
Did you know that the 1999 Constitution created a unitary government as against the projected federal government, and this forged an inefficient over-centralized government, as well as creating a centralized judiciary whom has never been autonomous?
In all this, did you know that this 1999 Constitution falsely and maliciously claims that the indigenous nationalities willingly handed over their lands and resources to the federal government?
And interestingly, did you know that the 1999 Constitution calls state governors chief security officers, but at the same time centralized all the security agencies and denies these state governors control over any of the security agencies?
And finally, do you know that the illegitimate 1999 Constitution in Section 6, subsection 6C, absolves the government from liabilities regarding rights of the citizens as provided in Chapter 2, making this right not justifiable?
This and many more are the reasons why corruption, unaccountability, incompetence, and insecurity are institutionalized in Nigeria.
Yes. Thank you. I don't even know if the camera actually caught that my sneezing. You know, that's going to be like a big meme. You know what I mean? But let me continue reading the cable. This is how they now plotted that Lumumba must be overthrown. He must be killed. This is the beginning, right? The source. So from that cable, right, let's read on. Only prudent, therefore, to plan on basis that Lumumba government threatens our vital interests in the Congo and Africa generally. A principal objective of our political and diplomatic action must therefore be to destroy Lumumba's government as now constituted. But at the same time, we must find or develop another horse to back, which would be acceptable in rest of Africa and defensible against Soviet political attack. He suggests that U.S. policy might include encouraging the Congolese parliament to repudiate Lumumba. He added that CIA operatives in Brussels would make a number of suggestions through their own channels to Leopoldville and Washington. Just 2 days later, a meeting of the U.S. National Security Council discussed the Congo In it, Hughes argued that in Lumumba, we were faced with a person who was a who was a Castro, or worse. It was safe, added Hughes, to go on the assumption that Lumumba has been bought by the communists. This also, however, fit with his own orientation. Bawden's memoir presents this development as one that was driven by Hughes. But it is clear that he himself had an instrumental role. After the meeting of the NSC, Hughes flew to Brussels for a quick survey and briefed Bawden on the council's recent decisions. The CIA's attitude towards Lumumba had hardened into enmity. Things fall apart. That is the end of chapter 16. So we now have chapter 17 to go to. Thank you for listening. So I'll keep that safe for us. That's how we're going to finish the reading. We've got some of these books here that we still need to catch up and read. So we are currently on, we just finished page 204. So we would have more from where that came from the next time we have the chance again. So thank you so much, everyone. Let me go kind of get ready for tonight, and hopefully the line will be working better, and we can have phone calls around maybe after, right? Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me, and I pray for all of you. I will see you later.
Oshoni, Ajeni, Elebologun ni, Amaniseni ni, Afaimaniseni ni, wọ́n á fi yín sílẹ̀.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun dayari political. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Bí pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Ìgò gómìnà kówó jẹ àní èso àjò ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá àní èso àjò aṣòfin tí ń rúfin òwò àní èso àjò òkúra olóṣèlú àní èso àjò ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì